Are you ready for a little bit of story time with Degen and Greg? Tales from the light side, tales from the dark side, and some sound bites like this?
Playing light side all the time is like marrying a prostitute.
Well, sit back, relax, and enjoy Greg and I just chatting a little bit, having a little story time, and talking about why you shouldn't marry a prostitute. What is up, my Degens? Chris, the Dice Degen here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, welcome. I appreciate you being here. If you're not new, welcome back. Thanks for stopping by yet again. If you wouldn't mind taking a quick second to smash that like button, subscribe down below, tap the bell for notifications, drop a comment on the video, and it really all helps. All right, it really, really does. Helps push the videos out to more people, and we want more people to have this enjoyment that we're going to be bringing you. All right. I can promise you it's going to be enjoying. If you're not new here, you already know who's on the other side of that screen. It's Greg from 555. Greg, how are you this evening?
I am doing fantastic, Chris. Always great to be here with you, buddy.
It's always a pleasure talking. And the funniest part is, for me anyway, not really funny. I think it's enjoyable. The fact that when you and I chat, what's on camera and what's actually recorded is one thing, but the chats we have before, after, all that kind of stuff, just phenomenal. So I'm humbled to be able to have these chats with you. I appreciate it, and as always, thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with the DGen himself, and then also all my other little DGens out there.
Yeah, absolutely my pleasure. People out there, they don't realize what good friends we are. But, we're looking to actually go and play up by you, by Philly or Atlantic City, and actually get together and roll out together. People just think, we're doing videos together, but that's not the case. We're actually good friends. So, yeah, and I love talking to you on or off camera. So I'm really looking forward to that. We talked about playing the rabbit together, the Velveteen Rabbit. I mean, it's always a good time when Chris and Greg are hanging out together. So that's what I
It's
want really people to understand.
it's always a ball, always a ball. We could charge like a subscription, I guess, just to come chat with us. But I guess we'll get into the topic of the video. Why not, right? So we're going to be
Sure.
talking about since we have the expert on all things dark side. All right, we're going to be talking about kind of what made us start playing dark side. All right, now if you haven't been to my channel before, you know that I don't only play dark. I'll play light side. I play hybrids. I play a lot of everything. All right, but I do play dark side more often than not these days, believe it or not. All right. I guess it's just the degen in me. It comes out and I want to go dark. Anyway, I'm going to kick it over to Greg because he's the expert in all things dark. And so, Greg, what kind of facilitated your dark side play and your love for the Andre?
Well, people don't know this about me, but the truth is, I started light side just like everybody else. I was hanging out in a casino, and all of a sudden I heard screaming at a craps table. I look over and I go, "Oh boy, that's for me." The guys were high fiving each other. I know nothing about the game. I read a paperback on various casino games. This is when I was brand new. But the excitement level at the table, I mean, I wanted to be a part of that. So I see everybody high fiving. I want to get involved. I go over to the craps table. First thing I do is I look down, Chris, at this layout, and I am like very, very intimidated. There's a lot going on here, but I want to be a part of the action. So I tell the dealer I have no idea what I'm doing. So he proceeds to teach me light side. He tells me you put a bet here on the pass line, and you start playing. So anyway, I get up to this rocking hot table and I start playing. I wind up playing inside. I wind up playing a pass line with the little odds. And the table's good. Guys are high fiving. We're cheering. I'm making money. I'm happy. And right there and right then, I fell in love with light side. Now, people think, oh, you're a dark side player. You can't like light side. Guys, very untrue. I love light side. Light side to me is like dessert. I love a good piece of cheesecake once in a while. Now, I know better than to eat cheesecake every single day, because if I do, I'm going to wind up 600 pounds with diabetes and a heart problem, because I know it's not good for you. Like I'm going to be on that TV show where the doctor does the bariatric surgery to you. It's not good. You can't do it all the time, but I love it at the same time. And this is what happened. I come up, I start placing my bets. And of course, it's like doing drugs for the first time. If you ever, I never did drugs, but if you ever did drugs, they ever ask anybody who did drugs, they say, "Oh, the first time I was hooked, I knew." It's kind of like that with light side. So have a little dessert, guys. I'm all for having dessert. It's just I think there's a consensus with people that if you basically, there's nobody out there in the craps community saying, go ahead, go for, my strategy is play for 18 hours and bet across here in the elephant graveyard. And after enough hours, you're going to walk out a winner. No, they say the exact opposite. They say this will kill you. It's suicide waiting to happen. But I actually love it. It's like you can't eat dessert around the clock. You just can't. So, and that's how I feel. Like I fell in love with light side. So anyway, I'm playing light side, and I played light side for about my first 2 years going. But you have to understand, Chris, I was young. I was barely 21, 22 years old, and I didn't have a ton of money. So what I would do is I would actually play 22 inside, very basic bet on a $5 table, 22 inside, and I would play a $5 pass line. I'll put it up here, and I'd play 1x odds, so usually $5. Now, at very worst, what would happen here is I'd wind up at a four or a 10, and so I would wind up 22 and another 10. I'd wind up with $32 max on the table per shooter, and usually I'd go up a little, I'd go down a little, but it was enjoyable. And I still, to this day, this is a guilty pleasure of mine. I love to play a little inside and maybe a pass line with the little odds. Maybe play it, maybe not take the odds. Doesn't matter. Still a guilty pleasure to this day. But as I started observing other players playing this game, I noticed a few things. Guys were not playing like me, conservative, small levels. They were playing this game on a very grand scale. They were parlaying. They were pressing. They were playing recklessly, and they really weren't pulling money off the table. So they would, like I said, Chris, they were enjoying too much dessert. That's what it comes down to, because everybody loves dessert. So, and they were trying to get the lottery wins. They were trying to do everything that's fun on a craps table. They were trying for the massive wins. And what I noticed happened was almost every time, a lot of these guys were losing their bankroll, almost every time. As a matter of fact, I had this girlfriend at the time, and her father was big into craps. And she told me one time, she goes, my father's horrible at it. He loses religiously. I mean, he would go to the table, Chris, and he would bet, and he would lose every single time. She told me the only way this guy, her father, could make money is if he stole it out of the guy's rack next to him. That's how bad he was. Yeah, for real. So I started observing these things. Yeah, it's just funny. Some people they don't have the luck. I've known guys who are highly lucky, highly unlucky. Me, I happen to roll a lot of sevens. I don't try to figure out why. I just roll a lot of sevens. So I went with it. Everybody's got their own game. This is mine. And incidentally, I don't hate anybody for playing their game. We can talk about that later. But, there's lots of different ways to play this game. This is what I decided my game was, the dark side, because I watched these guys. Chris, if you've been in the same casino like I have, and I know you have, week after week, you start to see the same faces. And you see the same faces, and they're doing the same things, and every week the same guys are losing money. And to tell you a quick story, I played with this one guy he was a regular who I actually was somewhat friendly with. I knew him. And he saw me start playing the don't. And it highly agitated this guy because I'm playing against him. And he starts telling me, you're bringing bad luck to the table. I said, listen, I've played with you the last 3 weeks in a row. I go, I've only played the don't this time. The 3 weeks prior to this that you were playing with me, I go, you lost every single time. So it's not me bringing bad luck to the table. It's just that this light side doesn't really work in large doses. So, yeah, I didn't want to go through that. Like, I know you can play this conservatively, light side, and you can survive doing it. But most guys who play light side fall right into the casino's trap. My mentality was, Chris, I don't want to do this. This is light side is fundamentally broken. So you can make it a little bit better. This is my opinion. But I really, and if you look at all the various types of players, you have your dice influencers, they're going to tell you light side is broken. So they're going to try to actually fix the outcome of the game by setting dice. That's one way. Then you get the guy who plays hybrid. That guy is also, he doesn't believe light side is working. He believes it's broken. So he's going to get a 7 hedge to try to fix that. Like most people have the general agreement that light side is broken. They just have different ways of trying to fix it. Yes, Chris, we all know that it's fun. There's no two ways about it. But my thing is, I said, I just threw the baby out with the bathwater in this case. I said, no, this is not something that if I do this long enough, I'm going to do well on. So I actually started playing the don't, looking for cold tables, and lo and behold, I did well with it. Now, a few reasons, because first of all, dark side is very resilient. Second of all, I didn't have to put as much money up on the table. If I played a don't at the $5 level, let's just say, I can play a $5. I mean, now try to find the $5 table, but this is back. this is 30 years plus when I started playing. $5. If I wanted one times odds, the most it would cost me on say a 4 or 10. The biggest bet I'd have out there is a $15 bet. So I could actually sit there and play this for the long term and not get hurt. So that's kind of the reason behind me going to the don't, and that's how I eventually got
Okay, so we have a relatively similar kind of thought process and story behind how we started to play dark. So um, I think I've told it on my channel before. If not, I definitely will be making a video on it. Which my first time ever playing craps was in Vegas a couple months after I turned 21. Never heard of the game before. Stepped up to a table, and this guy basically taught me how to play light side craps. Not the dealer, but some guy playing. Him and his wife were just ridiculously good shooters. They made me a fortune, and I was like you said, like basically hook, line, and sinker. They had me. I was all in on the game, and I only knew the light side, and I was like, oh, okay, this is working. But after a few times going to the casino after that, I found myself losing money every single time. Some were bigger losses, some were smaller losses, but I couldn't seem to find a win. And what I was trying to analyze in those losses was like, how was I losing? Like, what could I do to fix that? And I found out I wasn't losing necessarily on myself. Yes, I'm due to a short roll every once in a while. It happens. Even if you set the dice, it happens. All right. So get it out of your head right now. If you think you can start setting the dice and you're instantly going to go on 20 rollers all the time, even 10 rollers all the time, any dice setter will tell you point sevens happen. All right. So be that as it may, I found that I was losing more money on other players because I was doing like 66 inside. I was going 64 across, depending on what the table limits were, and I was getting frustrated losing. To be honest with you, I was just frankly frustrated. And then I started
there.
sitting out on other shooters. So I would literally go to the casino, wait for my roll. I wouldn't do anything the entire way around the table. I'd get the dice and I'd shoot. And I found that worked a little bit better for me. I was having more success doing that. Again, I really didn't know much about dice setting, dice influencing at the time. I kind of just picked up the dice and threw them. I had a little bit of a set to them, but nothing crazy. Um, and it was working for me. And I was like, all right, this is good. But then I'm thinking, all right, well, how do I make money on these people that I'm sitting out on who are not doing anything? I'm like, okay, then I found the dark side, right? So I was like, this could work. And at first, I was very, very hesitant to even put a dark bet out there. The first time I did it, I think I put table minimum on the don't pass, and I just let it go. I think I got knocked off the first time. I was like, of course. I was like, I'm going to go dark side, and it's going to lose for me. That's how it works, right? So then I did it again, and I ended up winning that one. And I was like, oh, this is working. This is working. Um, in the meantime, while I was trying to figure out like the dark side and stuff, I went on a cruise with girlfriend Degen, and
Hmm.
I met this guy there, and he was a really good shooter. him and I would basically plan to go to the casino at the same time because I was having good rolls that week. He was having good rolls. So him and I would literally only bet on each other, and then we'd wait all the way around and we'd bet on each other again. And it was a great trip. We ended up coloring up. He colored up for a lot more. His betting levels were way higher than mine at the time, and won money. It was great. But there was a guy at the end of the table who was religiously charging 10K to his room, 10K to his room, 10K to his room. And he kept going 750 across. Didn't stop going 750 across. He just kept going 750, 750, 750. And I'm telling you, this guy, I watched him charge his room probably 5 or 6 times in the 4 days that I played. And I never saw this guy actually take money off the table. He was always trying to get that money back. And I was like, okay, like that's a recipe to lose this game badly. So I was like, I can't be doing that. Even if I lose, I can't be doing something like that. And I was like, all right, well, this guy's losing on these short rolls, but the don't player would have won on these short rolls. So I started learning a little bit about it. Then luckily I found your channel. Not just saying this, all right, for everybody who's watching, I'm not just saying this, all right. But I found your channel and I actually learned how to play the don't multiple different ways. So then I started using that on other people at the casino. If you play the casino with me, you'll know on myself, I'm betting light side, I'm shooting. I usually play my Degen triple threat, um, take my 3 hits, regress down to something else, hopefully shoot for the moon. If not, I've recouped my money. I'll take a small loss on the chin or a small win. It is what it is. But on all the other players, most of the time, I'm dark or some sort of hybrid. 6, 7, 8. Recently, I've been playing the Velveteen Rabbit nonstop. I've played it now 5 times in the casino, 5 different times in the casino, and I love it. I have been doing very, very well with it. And I was telling Greg before we started filming, I actually played it on myself for the first time. So I had the dice in my hands betting against myself, throwing my seven
That's
set.
awesome.
It worked out for me. But it was a good time. I liked it. But the whole idea of going to the dark side was because I kept getting beat on the light side and I couldn't figure out what to do in order to not get beat. So I just didn't bet on it. Now, yes, I'm not saying I lost all the time going across, okay? People did make me money, but more often than not, I was getting beat. So I needed to figure out a way to win because I hated waiting for the dice to come around to me, especially at a full table. If you guys have been at a full table, you know it can take a while to get those dice all the way around again. And I hated waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So started playing dark, and now I play it a lot. I may not go fully dark. Like I said, I like the 6, 7, 8. Um, this new hybrid that we've been working on, that one has me peaked quite good. I ran it through Crapsy today. I'll tell you about it later. But I ran it through Crapsy and it worked well for me. But it's usually some sort of hybrid. I get a little bit of light side, but I still have the 7 working for me as well. And if you play with me at the casino, that's what you'll see me do. That's how I play most of the time, unless I know that either you can shoot and I have faith in your ability to shoot. Now, again, us dice setters are prone to 7 outs, not all the time, but they do happen. All right. So, again, just because somebody's setting doesn't mean they know what they're doing, and it doesn't mean you empty your entire rack out on the table. Okay. Bankroll management. And dark side can be a good way to manage your bankroll and also profit off of it. And I know there's a lot of people who don't like the dark side, who hate the dark side. Again, there's many, many ways to play the game of craps. I'm not going to tell you how to play it, but I'm going to tell you how now I have been successful playing it. I track every single casino visit that I have. I have an Excel spreadsheet. I will show it at the end of the year. I have an Excel spreadsheet of every casino visit with notes, what I bought in for, what I colored up for, all that kind of stuff. And I've been successful with it. Greg has been very, very successful playing the dark side. All right. If you weren't lucky enough to see his channel before, now you get to see some of the stuff here on my channel or on John's channel. But I mean, Greg is basically I don't want to say made a living, but he's made a living playing the dark side. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's reliable. You know, if I scope out my table, um, it's pretty much a given that I'll be able most days to find the cold table in any casino I walk into. So, you know, thank God. Maybe some of it's luck as well, but I've done well with it. So you know, I'm not trying to do the impossible here, guys. I'm trying to play the number on the table that's the most common, which is the seven. It's easier to hit than any other number on the dice. So why should you try to do things the hard way when you could do it the easy way? The dice setter and the across better, he's trying to make the seven disappear. That's hard to do. So, you know, I've had a little bit of good luck. Chris, you talked about the hybrid, that our hybrid we were working on together, which is a spoiler alert, guys. It is a lot of fun, and it gives you a little bit of that seven action. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till you show that, Chris. That's just going to be awesome. But you know, we talk about this. John Cocos, a good friend from Pro Craps, he told me the same thing, kind of like you said. He said he would go to the table and he'd play a lot like me. He'd just play a don't pass with the little odds. He goes, by the time the dice went around the table one time, with him playing very small bets, he's up $200. Then he had this one
Mm-hmm.
session, he told me, he's up $200. He had a bad roll after that. He gave it all back. I'm like, no. I go, John, you missed the point here. You made 200 easy bucks here by betting nothing. This is how this is how I try to make money playing craps. You know, I've had Chris, and you know this, we've talked about it. I've had guys when I had the channel up, I had guys email me. One guy in particular really stuck in my head, and he goes, Greg, you know, I've been watching your videos, I've been enjoying them. He goes, and I've absolutely had it. I just went to the casino for the last time, and I was playing, I was loading up the elephant graveyard, and I took yet another beating. And he goes, I'm done. From now on, I think I'm going to play like you. I think you got it right. And the guy emailed me a few times that he played dark side after that, and he made money. It's just easier to do, Chris. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's almost like the path of least resistance, right? Everybody always tells you when you're doing something, you take the path of least resistance. Well, from an odds perspective, I mean, the path of least resistance in craps is going to be the dark side because it's the most number of combinations on the dice, right? I don't like to do anything super complicated. I'm a very simple person. The KISS method is probably my favorite method that's ever been invented. Keep it simple, stupid, right? That's what I try to do. When
Yep.
I start getting carried away at the tables and start doing ridiculous things, that's when I start just lighting money on fire, basically. And that's when I find myself getting in trouble when I'm doing this kind of stuff. And whether it be in craps or whether it be in something that I'm doing, I'm always looking for the most effective but the easiest way to do it, right? I'm not always taking the easiest way, not always in life, right? But I'm looking for the
Mm-hmm.
easiest, most effective way to get to what I want. On the craps table, what I want is to win money, right? Hit my win goal and get out of there. The easiest way to do it for me recently and over the past, let's say, year and a half, 2 years almost, has been the hybrid type plays or just going fully dark on shooters that I don't know who they are, who are just, shaking and baking the dice down the table. Because, again, probability says that the seven is the most powerful number. So I want to be betting on the most powerful number. Just how I am. And it's worked very, very well for me. I have no complaints. I have lost on the dark side. All right. I will tell you guys in full transparency because I know someone's already going to be in the comments like, well, you've definitely lost. I have. Okay. I'm saying it now. I have lost. Hand over my heart, whatever you want. I've lost playing the dark side. But more often than not, I win playing the dark side. Okay. So that's kind of why I play it now. It's my mentality behind why I play it. And it's worked.
You know, Chris, you bring this up, and I know there's going to be people who are resistant to play any form of dark side at all. If I could just give those people a piece of advice, volatility is what's killing people in this game of craps. This game that we all love, it's volatility. If they absolutely insist that they don't want to play dark side, I'm not. Chris, everybody has their own game. I alluded to this before. And that's okay. What you should do is you should play like you're playing Dark Side without actually playing it. You got 12 people on most tables if your table's full. So you don't want to play you don't want to play odds. Well, you can do the same thing by playing a pass line at minimum with 1x odds. And what you're doing is you're actually reducing your risk on the 7 for all those other shooters. And believe me, guys, it's almost the pass line or the don't pass with single odds is nearly the same thing. Now, where people get in trouble with light side is here in the elephant graveyard. Now, I've talked about this lots of times. I call this the elephant graveyard, Chris, because this is where money comes to die. Chips come up here to die. People put them up. They'll put a bunch of chips up here, and they will just leave them there until inevitably the 7 always comes eventually until these chips die. So you're sending these chips here you put up here to their death sentence. That's not good. And a lot of people worsen this problem by pressing, by parlaying, and they don't make money. But if for the player who says, no, Greg, and I've had friends like this who won't play it, guys, you could accomplish nearly the same thing by playing a minimum pass with minimum odds. Math-wise, you'll accomplish nearly the same thing. And what does it do? It reduces your exposure to the 7 for 11 out of 12 rolls. I can't say I'm against this, guys. Now, you say, well, the don't is better. That's true. But the odds payout being more than what you're putting down make up for that. So if you have the guy who's resistant, at least, guys, lower your 7 exposure. A funny story. I went, my friend Jim and me, he wanted me to teach him the game of craps. So I went and took him. And, you know, Jim wanted to learn light side. So I took him, we played light side. And it just so happened we had a really good roll, me and Jim. And the table was doing good, pretty good. So, I mean, we didn't shoot the lights out, but we had a good time. We made money. He goes, Greg, I don't understand this. Why aren't you playing light side? I go, Jim, playing light side all the time is like marrying a prostitute. No good is going to come out of it. You know, it may be fun sometimes, but believe me, you're going to regret that decision. So, but it's a lot of fun. He wanted to learn. And we did. And I taught him the game. And it just so happened everybody who seems to play this game gets lucky on their first roll on the light side. I don't know what it is, Chris, if it's a thing or not. But so, yeah. So, but anyway, for me, even light side, I know I made you laugh there, Chris. Sorry about that. But look, as much as you can limit your downside on the 7, I think you're in good shape. And believe me, just play minimum on everybody else on the pass line. Put a little bit of odds to write the math. And then if you want to play light side on yourself, go for it. But, you know, volatility is not just something that's available on the light side. If you insisted on playing volatile dark side, you could do it. Now, how do you do it? If you want to play volatile dark side, you can load up on the back wall and keep loading it up. Then somebody gets a 30 roller and clips your wings. Or you could play a big don't with massive odds, throw up some DCs. You know, the thing is, you know the 7's eventually coming, but the question is, how much pain could you get yourself in before you get there? So I think the real key here, dark side or not, is low volatility craps. So that's just my take on it. If you don't want to play, at least lower your exposure to the 7, lower your dollar amounts exposed to the 7, and you'll be in better shape. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and probably end on that point right there because I think that's a very, very good ending point is lowering your volatility regardless of how you play and limit your exposure. Don't let the casino take all of your money that you bring with you, right? Let's be sensible about this. Everybody preaches bankroll management. I'm not going to preach it to you right now, but limit your exposure, all right? And this is how we kind of started playing the dark side, all right? So if you had any takeaways, if you skipped right to this point, because some of you do, I know, please don't, please watch. Anyway, limit your exposure, right? Don't play super volatile strategies on the table, okay, whether it be light side or dark side. And if you're going to marry a prostitute, be careful, all right? That's what you can take out of this. And
You
just
know,
remember,
that last point, Chris, that last point is very important because, everybody's got a little degen in them.
I'm ending it right there. See you all later. Peace.